Yesterday, among other things, Dr. Fauci talked about during his Senate testimony that the idea that we should be any sort of rush, that we should be in a rush to reopen schools might be a bad idea, saying, I think we better be careful if we're not cavalier in thinking that children are completely immune to the deleterious effects. You're right in the numbers that children in general do much, much better than adults and the elderly, and particularly those with underlying conditions. But I am very careful and hopefully humble in knowing that I don't know everything about this disease, and that's why I'm very reserved in making broad predictions. So he's saying basically pump the brakes. A lot of what he hears said about kids in the coronavirus turns out not to be true. The idea that they can't spread it is simply not true. The idea that they are immune to it is not true. Kids have died from the coronavirus, continue to. Now we're seeing crop up in more than a dozen U.S. states and a number of other countries an associated syndrome that looks like Kawasaki's that seems to be affecting kids predominantly that had coronavirus. So these are reasons to be a little bit concerned. But overall, the message is just, let's chill for a bit. And Trump was not happy about that, as you'll see.
He wants to play all sides of the equation. I think we're going to have a tremendous fourth quarter. I think we're going to have a transitional third quarter. And I think we're going to have a phenomenal next year. I feel that we are going to have a country that's ready to absolutely have one of its best years. Next year, with all of the stimulus and all of the fact that it's a pent-up demand like I haven't seen. And you see it right now. These two really professional, good governors that do such a, work so hard. I know both of them very well. One happens to be a Democrat, okay? But we've worked together, and I think we've worked together very well. And one, you would expect me to say that, but it happens to be true, okay? Really good job, too. But we've worked very, very well together. They want to get their states open. Some governors and some perhaps partisans, maybe for election reasons, don't want to have their states open. And then some shouldn't open them quite yet. They're not ready. They went through a lot, and they're not quite ready. But no, we're opening our country. People want it open. The schools are going to be open.
So, look, he acknowledges there, which is nice, that some aren't ready. What he's not saying is that many of the states that are currently in the process of reopening do not meet the White House guidelines for doing so. But he either wasn't aware of those guidelines or doesn't care about them. So he's not raising any concerns that they are literally not going by the advice that he says he and the White House are providing.
The main thing I'm worried about is they're definitely coming for Dr. Fauci. So Trump saying there he's playing both sides.
Yeah.
What does that mean? So he's not playing either side. He's telling you what the science is to the best of his ability with the information that they have at the moment. But Donald Trump doesn't view things that way. He doesn't view it as, oh, okay, you're a scientist telling me science, or you're a doctor telling me medical information. He views the entire world as you're either with Donald Trump or you're against Donald Trump. So if you say something that doesn't jive with what I say, that's it. You're against Donald Trump, and now you're playing the other side, the Democratic side. And every once in a while, you come and tell me good things, and so now that you're playing my side, you're playing both sides. He's trying to navigate your incompetence and stupidity, and without telling you that, because then you'll fire him immediately because you have such thin skin. But they're coming for him. And look, again, Democrats can't make their case. He had already retweeted somebody saying fire Dr. Fauci from a couple of weeks ago. Where the Democratic surrogates saying, wait, did you mean to fire Fauci over a tweet? Were you supportive of that? Or do you have mental problems that you don't know what you're tweeting? But the president of the United States willy-nilly sometimes makes international policy or national policy that has international impact through his tweets, and he doesn't even know what he's tweeting because he's mentally incompetent. But no, there's no Democrats, there's no nothing. So Fauci's out here twisting in the wind. So here comes Fox News, and they're going to try to finish.
Yeah. I think we have a little bit more of Trump on Fauci.
Dr. Fauci is playing both sides. Are you suggesting that the advice
Well,
he's giving to you is different?
I was surprised by his answer, actually, because, it's just, to me, it's not an acceptable answer, especially when it comes to schools. The only thing that would be acceptable, as I said, is professors, teachers, etc., over a certain age. I think they ought to take it easy for another few weeks, 5 weeks, 4 weeks, who knows.
Here's what would be acceptable. If Trump said, Fauci's a doctor, I believe him, and I think his medical advice is excellent. But that's only one component of the equation here. And I have to think about other things, including the economy. And we have to do a balancing act. And that's a painful balancing act. But it is something we have to do. And we're not yet ready to make a decision on reopening the schools in the fall. But obviously, we'll take all of that into account. And that's why he is my advisor and I'm the president who takes all that into account and then makes a decision. That would be what an intelligent person would say. Instead, he's like, Fauci doesn't know.
Look, I'm interested to find out how much longer Fauci lasts, but I'm a lot more interested in what the consequences of governors and regular people following Trump's continued horrible misinformation / advice will be. I mean, we're still losing. Like what have we lost? 1,700 people so far today already, but we're not supposed to care about that, and many don't. It has totally been normalized. It's not the fact that 85,000 people have died. People don't have the same level of horror and shock about that as they did when 50 died. It's actually less now. And it's going to get worse. We have done what we've done so far to flatten the curve by having the lockdowns. We don't have a vaccine. We don't have a better treatment, but we're sending people out there. And at one point when they were pushing to reopen and everything, I was saying, you know what you could do? You could pretend that you were anything other than a heartless monster trying to grind up the working class to, grease the gears of Wall Street by pushing for reopening, but also making tests available and doing contact tracing and all of that. And they wouldn't do that. So I have a lower threshold. You could wear a mask, pretend that people should take the most minimal, inexpensive safety precautions, but they won't even do that. Don't you think it's a little bit weird that the right-wing media that every day is pushing for people to just run back out there and reclaim their freedoms don't ever say anything about the photos that came out from Wisconsin of the packed bars or anything like that? They don't cover the people who are, they're spitting and wiping their nose on people working at supermarkets. Imagine if you were actually serious about these freedoms being restored. Wouldn't you hate that people do stuff like that and make those with justifiable, constitutionally grounded desires to get back out there look bad? But they don't talk about any of that. They talk about the need to reopen. They attack the quarantines. They attack social distancing. They attack literally using masks at all. We're not supposed to say things that make us sound crazy. It seems like the strategy is to get as many people killed as possible. But I can't even keep up anymore with how irresponsible, down to the lowest levels. Don't even wear a mask.
Some of the stories that John mentioned, including the crowded bars in Wisconsin today, we're going to discuss in the post game for the members. That's tyt.com/join to become a member. Or if you're on YouTube, click the join button below. And John, they claim that they care so much about Benghazi because 4 Americans died. Now, they found no wrongdoing, but they're like, it doesn't matter if there was no wrongdoing. 4 Americans died. We have over 80,000 Americans dead now. They're like, who cares? It's become like Lord of the Flies. They're like, let's reopen. And if the old and the sick die, well, we had to get it done. Yeah. And so these are the panel. These are the people who said we should be worried about death panels. Apparently, they don't mind death panels at all.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.